Welcome. Thank you for choosing to settle in and share this time with me. Find a comfortable space, allow your breath to deepen, and let the world outside gently fade. My name is Silas, and I find a quiet joy in journeying, not just to see new places, but to feel them, to listen to their unique rhythms, and to gather moments of stillness aboard my traveling home. The Wanderer. It's a slow way to travel, perhaps, but one that allows for reflection and appreciation of the subtle details that often pass unnoticed. My journeys aboard the train have carried me through such varied landscapes, from the artful blending of nature and mindful design I found in Kyoto's temple gardens, to the vibrant colonial elegance of Buenos Aires and the cool maritime charm of Copenhagen's canals. That profound appreciation for how a city can nurture quiet corners of beauty and artistic spirit, something so deeply felt in Kyoto, stirs within me once more as the Wanderer glides through the French countryside. Through the window, the fields of wheat give way to smaller towns, the air itself seeming to carry a different quality of light, hinting at the famed glow awaiting us in Paris. In the chapters ahead, as we arrive in Paris, I anticipate seeking out that particular softness of light I have heard so much about, wondering how it will illuminate the historic stone along the Seine in the quiet of early morning. I am also drawn to the idea of finding a different kind of stillness, perhaps amidst the green repose of Père Lachaise cemetery, observing the stories held within its weathered monuments. And I'm curious to explore the city's hidden passages, couverts, to feel the distinct atmosphere held beneath their glass roofs, imagining the echoes of footsteps from a bygone era. This is an invitation to slow down with me, to observe these moments, and to find a measure of peace in the present, just as I seek to do. Let the gentle sounds of the journey soothe you as we arrive and begin to explore the calm atmosphere of Paris together. If you find comfort and tranquility in sharing these experiences, perhaps consider liking this recording or subscribing to the channel to join me as the journey continues. For now, let us begin. Chapter 1. Towards the City of Light. The gentle, rhythmic sway of the Wanderer is a familiar comfort, a constant hum beneath the quiet clatter of my thoughts. Outside the broad window of my carriage, the French countryside glides by, a tapestry of greens and golds under a soft, diffuse sky. Fields of wheat bowing their heavy heads in a silent collective sigh, stretched towards horizons dotted with a dark punctuation of distant trees. Occasionally, a cluster of stone houses, roofs the color of terracotta, appears and recedes, their windows like sleepy eyes watching my passage. I sip my tisane, the warm ceramic of the mug a reassuring presence in my hands. Its herbal scent a subtle counterpoint to the familiar aroma of aged wood and worn leather that permeates my traveling home. The light shifts, a subtle alchemy performed by the unseen hand of the approaching afternoon. Shadows lengthen, drawing new contours across the land, and the colors deepen, from the pale gold of the cut fields to the richer ochre of tilled earth. I watch a lone kestrel hover a dark speck against the vast canvas of the sky, its stillness a stark contrast to our steady, forward motion. There's a meditative quality to this journey, to the uninterrupted flow of scenery and the quiet companionship of my own reflections. Paris awaits, a name that conjures 1,000 images, a symphony of expectations. Yet, my anticipation is not for the grand avenues or the glittering spectacles, but for the softer lights, the quieter corners, the hushed whispers of history I hope to find. As the wanderer carries me closer, the landscape begins to subtly transform. The sprawling fields give way to smaller, more intricately patterned plots of land bordered by neat rows of poplars standing like sentinels. Villages become towns, their church spires more prominent, their embrace a little tighter around the railway line. The subtle energy shift is palpable, a quiet hum that vibrates through the carriage floor, a prelude to the more complex rhythms of the city ahead. I close my eyes for a moment, focusing on the sounds, the steady clickety-clack of the wheels, the gentle creak of the carriage, the distant muted call of a train horn echoing through the air, a sound both melancholic and full of promise. I open my notebook, its familiar worn pages, a repository of journeys past and reflections yet to be fully formed. The pen feels light in my fingers. I don't write words, not yet, but instead I try to capture the feeling of this approach, the sense of moving from the expansive quiet of the rural landscape towards the concentrated hum of human endeavor. It's a transition I've made many times, yet each arrival holds its own unique resonance, its own particular shade of anticipation. The soft light filtering through my window illuminates the blank page, inviting inscription, inviting the story of Paris to begin. The air outside, glimpsed through the slightly open window, carries a new scent now, less of earth and hay, more of distant industry, and the faint, indefinable fragrance of a large populace. Small modern buildings begin to appear alongside the older stone structures, signs of the capital's sprawling embrace. I think of the artists and writers who have walked Parisian streets, who have sought inspiration in its cafes and along its riverbanks. Their ghosts are part of the city's allure, their whispers embedded in its very stones, and I wonder if I will feel their presence in the quiet moments. My small compartment within the wanderer remains a sanctuary of calm amidst this transition. The polished wood of the paneling gleams softly, reflecting the muted light. My few essential belongings are neatly stowed, each in its familiar place, creating an anchor of stability no matter how the world outside changes. This train is more than transport. It is a piece of myself, a moving studio, a quiet shell that allows me to observe the world while remaining cocooned in a comforting stillness. It allows me to arrive gently, to absorb the approach rather than be thrust into the heart of a new place. The slowing rhythm of the train signals our imminent arrival. The clatter of the wheels over points becomes more frequent, a complex percussive beat. I see the first true signs of the Parisian network, a web of tracks converging, overhead gantries casting intricate shadows. My gaze lingers on the passing scenes, a flash of colorful graffiti on a concrete wall, a glimpse of a residential balcony overflowing with plants, small vignettes of life on the city's edge. There is no grand vista yet, just these incremental hints of the vastness that awaits. I take a final slow sip of my now cool to Seine and close my notebook. The journey to the city is almost complete. Soon, the journey within the city will begin. I feel a quiet curiosity, a readiness to step out and explore, to listen to the pulse of Paris, and to discover those soft lights that I trust are waiting to be found, hidden perhaps, but there for the patient observer. The wanderer glides smoothly, its pace now a gentle crawl, preparing to deliver me to the heart of the legend. Chapter 2. Echoes of Gare de l'Est. The train slides into the vast expanse of Gare de l'Est with a final drawn-out sigh of compressed air, the metallic groan, a familiar sound of arrival. Stepping down from the wanderer onto the platform, I am immediately enveloped by the station's unique atmosphere. High above, the immense iron and glass roof arches like the nave of a cathedral, filtering the Parisian light into a soft, diffuse glow that illuminates the bustling scene below. There's a gentle murmur of travelers, a melody of French voices, the rolling of suitcases on stone, all coalescing into the subtle, ever-present hum of a grand European terminus. I pause for a moment, my leather satchel held loosely in my hand, allowing the initial sensory impressions to wash over me. The air is tinged with the faint, enticing aroma of coffee and freshly baked pain au chocolat drifting from a nearby vendor, mingling with the cooler, mineral scent of old stone and steel. The scale of the place is impressive, yet it doesn't feel overwhelming. There's an inherent elegance to its design, a sense of history embedded in the ornate ironwork and the vast echoing spaces. People move with a purpose, yet there isn't the frantic rush I've encountered in other major city stations. Navigating towards the exit, I observe the details. The way the light catches the brass fittings on a kiosk, the intricate patterns of the tiled floor worn smooth by countless journeys, the faded grandeur of old advertisements painted high on the walls. There's a theatricality to these old stations, a sense of them being stages for countless arrivals and departures, countless hellos and goodbyes. I feel like a quiet audience member absorbing the subtle dramas unfolding around me, the fleeting expressions on faces, the small gestures of connection or farewell. Outside the main entrance, the city asserts itself more directly. The sounds are sharper here, the rumble of traffic, the occasional blare of a horn, the cheerful chatter spilling from a nearby brasserie. I find my prearranged transport, a quiet electric taxi, its driver offering a polite "Bonjour, monsieur." As we pull away from the station, I catch a final glimpse of its imposing facade, a grand gateway that has welcomed me into Paris. The journey to my temporary apartment begins, a gentle glide through streets already hinting at the city's famed architectural harmony. We travel through wide boulevards and then into narrower streets, each turn revealing a new vista. The Haussmann buildings, with their cream-colored stone and wrought iron balconies, balconies create a sense of remarkable uniformity, yet each possesses its own subtle character, a flourish of carving above a doorway, a particularly vibrant display of window boxes, the patina of age lending it a unique story. I am heading towards Le Marais, but a quieter, more residential part, a street I hope will offer a peaceful retreat from the city's more effervescent heart. The driver navigates with an unhurried skill, the electric motor a near silent hum. I watch the Parisians go about their day, a woman walking a small dog with an air of nonchalant elegance, two friends animatedly conversing outside a boulangerie, a cyclist weaving deftly through the traffic. There's an inherent style to the city, an understated confidence that seems to permeate even the most mundane activities. The light, even on this overcast day, has a particular quality, a softness that seems to flatter every surface it touches. We arrive on a relatively narrow street, lined with tall, graceful buildings. My apartment is on an upper floor, promising views and hopefully, removed from the immediate street-level sounds. The entrance is a heavy wooden door, leading into a cool, dim hallway. There's a sense of solidity, of history held within these old walls. I thank the driver, retrieving my satchel and my small overnight bag, the only luggage I'll need beyond what remains on the wanderer until my departure. Standing before the building, I feel a quiet sense of anticipation. This will be my haven, my base for exploring the soft lights of Paris. The station's grandeur is now a memory, replaced by the promise of a more intimate connection with the city, one that begins with the simple act of unlocking a door and stepping into a new, temporary home. The echoes of Gare de l'Est fade, replaced by the quieter hum of this chosen neighborhood, and the journey continues inward. Chapter 3, A Parisian Haven. The key turns smoothly in the lock, and the heavy apartment door swings inward, revealing a space bathed in the soft, indirect light of a Parisian afternoon. My first impression is of height and airiness. The ceilings are impressively high, a characteristic of these old Haussmannian buildings, giving an immediate sense of spaciousness despite the apartment's modest footprint. Large shuttered windows line one wall, their tall panes promising generous views once opened. I step inside, the scent of beeswax and old, well-cared-for wood faintly perfuming the air, a comforting and welcoming aroma. I set down my satchel and small bag, my footsteps echoing slightly on the polished parquet floor, its herringbone pattern a testament to classic craftsmanship. The apartment is simply furnished, yet every piece seems chosen with care, possessing a quiet elegance. A small, comfortable-looking sofa faces a marble fireplace, long dormant, but still a handsome focal point. Beside it, a bookshelf holds a modest collection of French novels and art books. It feels less like a rental and more like a space someone truly cherishes. My immediate draw is to the windows. I unlatch the wooden shutters and push them open, letting in the sounds and sights of the quiet street below. My apartment is on the 4th floor, high enough to muffle the direct sounds of traffic, allowing instead a gentle symphony of city life. the distant chime of a church bell, the melodic rise and fall of conversation from a cafe further down the street, the rustle of leaves from the plane trees lining the pavement, a small wrought iron balcony just wide enough for a single chair extends from the window, offering a perch from which to observe the world. I begin to unpack my few essentials, a ritual that helps me settle into any new space. My notebook and pen find their place on a small antique writing desk tucked into an alcove, its surface worn smooth by time and use. My camera is placed beside it, ready for the visual discoveries the city will offer. Clothes are hung in the armoire, and my wash bag finds its spot in the small functional bathroom. Each item stowed away is a small act of creating order, of making this temporary dwelling feel for a little while like home. Stepping onto the balcony, I lean against the cool iron railing. Below the street is a quiet tableau. An elderly woman walks by, a baguette tucked under her arm. A young man on a bicycle, a basket full of flowers on its front, pedals past. The light, though the sun is hidden by clouds, has that unique Parisian softness, a pearlescent quality that seems to make every color richer, every shadow more intriguing. I feel a sense of peace settle over me, a quiet contentment that comes from finding a still point in a new and vibrant environment. Back inside, I explore the small kitchen, noting the simple stove and the compact refrigerator. It's enough for preparing simple meals, for brewing coffee in the morning, for living a quiet, uncomplicated life during my stay. The entire apartment breathes an air of unpretentious comfort. It's not luxurious, but it has character, a soul. I run my hand along the cool marble of the fireplace mantel, imagining the lives that have unfolded within these walls, the stories these rooms could tell if they could speak. As evening begins to draw in, the light outside softens further, turning the sky to a muted lavender. The sounds from the street become more subdued. I don't turn on any lamps yet, preferring to let the dying daylight fill the room. This is a time for quiet contemplation, for allowing the essence of Paris to seep in gently. The anticipation of exploration is there, a quiet hum beneath the surface, but for now, it is enough to simply be here, in this haven, absorbing the atmosphere and feeling the city's pulse from this tranquil remove. This Parisian haven with its high ceilings and its balcony overlooking the quiet street already feels like a sanctuary. It's a place where I can retreat after a day of wandering, a place to process observations, to write, to simply be. The city awaits with its myriad experiences, but the foundation of any good journey for me is a peaceful space to return to. And this apartment, with its simple elegance and its quiet charm, promises to be just that. The soft lights of Paris are not just outside. They are also found in the gentle embrace of a welcoming, temporary home. Chapter 4. Morning light on the Seine. The city is still breathing softly when I step out into the cool, pearlescent light of early morning. Paris at this hour possesses a quiet magic, a hushed intimacy before its daily rhythms fully awaken. I walk toward the Seine, my footsteps echoing faintly on the pavements still damp from the night's mist. The air is fresh, carrying the scent of river water and the distant, subtle aroma of baking bread from a boulangerie already at work. My destination is a quieter stretch of the river, perhaps near the Ile Saint-Louis, where the grandeur of Paris feels a little more human-scaled. As I reach the quayside, the river unfolds before me, a ribbon of pewter reflecting the soft, luminous sky. The water flows with a gentle insistence, its surface disturbed only by the occasional ripple from a passing peniche moored along the bank, its inhabitants still asleep. The grand buildings that line the opposite bank are silhouetted against the brightening eastern sky, their architectural details softened by the dawn light, their windows dark and enigmatic. The famous bouquiniste stalls, their green boxes tightly shut, stand like patient sentinels, waiting for the city to stir. I find a worn stone bench overlooking the water, its surface cool beneath my hand. From here, the Pont Marie arches gracefully across the river, its ancient stones imbued with a deep sense of history. I watch as the light begins to transform, the grays and silvers slowly giving way to warmer tones as the unseen sun climbs higher. A lone rower slices through the water, his oars dipping with a rhythmic grace, the only sound the gentle splash and the creak of oarlocks. It's a moment of profound stillness, a private viewing of the city before the curtain fully rises on its daily performance. In my notebook, I attempt to capture not just the visual scene, but the feeling of this early morning encounter. The coolness of the air, the scent of the river, the quiet lapping of water against the stone embankment. It's these sensory details that often evoke the truest memory of a place. I sketch the curve of the bridge, the way the light catches the leaves of the plane trees that line the quay, their branches still mostly bare, hinting at the spring to come. It's not about creating a masterpiece, but about deepening my observation, about truly seeing. A few early risers begin to appear, a jogger moving with a steady pace, an elderly gentleman walking his small dog, a city worker sweeping the pavement with unhurried strokes. Each passes by with a quiet nod or a soft bonjour, a brief, polite acknowledgement of shared presence in this tranquil hour. There's a camaraderie in these early morning moments, a sense of experiencing a privileged, peaceful version of the city before the throngs descend. The usual tourist hum is absent, replaced by a more authentic local rhythm. The sun finally breaks through a gap in the clouds, and a pale gold light spills across the water, transforming its surface into a shimmering tapestry. The stone facades of the buildings opposite are now illuminated, revealing their intricate carvings and the subtle variations in their creamy hues. The air warms perceptibly. It's as if the city itself is stretching, yawning, preparing to greet the day. I feel a gentle sense of gratitude for witnessing this quiet awakening, this daily miracle of light and peace. I linger for a while longer, watching the play of light and shadow, the gradual increase in activity along the riverbanks. The first of the tourist boats, still mostly empty, glides by, its passage creating a wider wake that slaps gently against the quay. The spell of perfect solitude is beginning to break, but the memory of it remains. A core of stillness I will carry with me through the day. This morning light on the Seine has been a gift, a reminder that even in the heart of a great metropolis, moments of profound tranquility can always be found. Reluctantly, I rise from the bench, the stone now faintly warmed by the sun. The walk back to my apartment will be through streets that are now more alive, filled with the sounds of opening shops and people heading to work. But the quietude of the river at dawn has set a peaceful tone for the day. It's these simple, unadorned experiences, the light on the water, the silent greeting of a fellow early riser, the scent of the morning air that often form the most enduring and cherished impressions of a place. Chapter 5. Green Repose in Père Lachaise. The entrance to Père Lachaise Cemetery is unassuming, giving little hint of the sprawling verdant city of the dead that lies beyond its stone gateway. I step inside, and the sounds of Paris, the traffic, the distant sirens immediately recede, replaced by a profound quietude, broken only by the rustling of leaves and the occasional birdsong. It feels less like a cemetery and more like an ancient overgrown park, a labyrinth of cobbled pathways winding through a forest of stone and marble, shaded by mature trees whose branches form a gentle canopy overhead. I wander without a map, allowing intuition to guide me along the narrow avenues and hidden staircases. My interest is not in seeking out the famous tombs, though I know many reside here, but rather in absorbing the unique atmosphere of the place. Sunlight filters through the leaves, dappling the weathered stone of mausoleums and the intricate ironwork of family plots. Moss grows thick on many of the older monuments, softening their edges, lending them an air of melancholic beauty. There's a sense of stories everywhere, whispered by the wind through the cypress trees, hinted at by the faded inscriptions and the solitary, forgotten statues. The artistry on display is extraordinary. Elaborate sculptures of grieving angels, stoic figures of military heroes, simple, poignant carvings of flowers or books. Each monument is a testament to a life lived, a memory cherished however long ago. Some tombs are grand and imposing, small chapels unto themselves, while others are modest, almost hidden beneath trailing ivy. I pause before a particularly weathered statue of a young woman, her stone face serene, her hands clasped. A single fresh rose has been placed at her feet. A small, vibrant splash of color against the gray stone, a testament to remembrance that transcends time. I find a secluded stone bench beneath a large chestnut tree, its surface cool and slightly damp. From here, I can observe the play of light and shadow on the surrounding tombs, the way the sun illuminates a name carved in granite or casts a deep shadow into the recess of a small open-air chapel. It is undeniably a place of sorrow, yet it is also profoundly peaceful. There's a sense of acceptance here, of lives completed, of history settled. The air itself seems to hold a certain reverence, encouraging quiet contemplation. I think about the nature of memory, how we strive to keep alive the essence of those who have passed. These monuments, in their varied forms, are attempts to solidify memory, to give it tangible form. But memory also lives in the stories told, in the quiet moments of reflection, in the love that endures. Père Lachaise feels like a vast, silent library of such stories, each tomb a closed book, its contents left to the imagination of the wanderer. A gentle breeze rustles the leaves overhead, creating a soft, sighing sound that seems to blend with the silence. A blackbird lands on a nearby tombstone, its bright eye observing me for a moment before it flies off, its song echoing briefly through the stillness. I notice the small details, a tiny wild violet pushing its way through a crack in a stone pathway, the intricate pattern of lichen on an ancient cross, the way a shaft of sunlight highlights a single perfect cobweb strung between two urns. It's in these small, often overlooked details that the true character of a place often resides. There are other visitors, but they too seem to move with a respectful quietness, their voices low, their footsteps soft on the gravel paths. Some carry flowers, others consult maps, searching for specific graves. I see a young artist sitting on a folding stool, sketching an ornate sarcophagus, her brow furrowed concentration. There's a shared understanding here, an unspoken acknowledgement of the sanctity and serenity of this unique space. As the afternoon wears on, I begin to make my way slowly back toward the entrance. I feel a sense of calm, a quiet enrichment from having spent time in this green repose. Père Lachaise is not just a resting place for the dead, it is a place for the living to find peace, to reflect, and to appreciate the beauty that can be found even in places associated with sorrow. It's a reminder of the continuity of life, of the enduring human need to remember and to be remembered, all set within a surprisingly tranquil and restorative natural landscape. Chapter 6. Pages in a glass-roofed passage. Tucked away from the broad, bustling boulevards, Paris hides some of its most enchanting secrets. Its covered passages, or passages couverts. Today I seek out one of these arcades, Galerie Vivienne, renowned for its elegance and preserved 19th century charm. Stepping from the brighter, more boisterous Rue des Petits Champs into the passage is like entering another era. The sounds of the city dim, replaced by a hushed reverence, and the light transforms, filtered through the arched glass roof high above, casting a soft, even glow on the intricate mosaic floor below. The floor itself is a work of art. Tiny tiles meticulously arranged in swirling patterns and classical motifs, their colors still vibrant despite the passage of countless feet over more than a century. I walk slowly, my gaze drawn upwards to the delicate ironwork supporting the glass canopy, then down to the elegant shop fronts that line either side. Each is a miniature jewel box, an antiquarian bookstore with leather-bound volumes stacked high, a confiserie displaying jewel-like chocolates and bonbons, a bespoke tailor with an air of quiet distinction, a shop selling antique maps and prints. I pause before the window of a specialist wine merchant, its dusty bottles promising stories of vineyards and vintages. Next to it, a tiny shop overflows with exquisite writing instruments and embossed stationery, a haven for those who still appreciate the art of the handwritten word. There's a distinct lack of modern clamor here. No blaring music, no flashing advertisements. The atmosphere is one of refined commerce, of quiet appreciation for craftsmanship and quality. The scent of old paper, beeswax, and perhaps a hint of dried flowers or subtle perfume lingers in the air. Deeper within the passage, I find a small traditional cafe, its few tables spilling out onto the mosaic walkway. I take a seat at one, ordering a simple café crème. From this vantage point, I can observe the gentle flow of people through the arcade. They're not rushing, like me. They seem to be savoring the atmosphere, pausing to look in windows, admiring the architectural details. A woman reads a book at a neighboring table, a small dog resting patiently at her feet. An elderly couple strolls by arm in arm, their conversation a soft murmur. The light filtering through the glass roof has a unique quality, almost like being underwater, but in an ocean of warm, diffused sunlight. It illuminates the gilded lettering on the shop signs and highlights the subtle textures of the old stone and wood. I imagine this passage in its heyday, filled with elegantly dressed Parisians browsing the latest fashions or meeting for discreet conversations. It still retains much of that original spirit, a sense of being a world apart, a quiet refuge from the city's more frenetic pace. My coffee arrives, served in a simple white cup, the rich aroma mingling with the other subtle scents of the passage. I sip it slowly, enjoying the moment of stillness. My notebook lies open on the table, but I don't feel the need to write immediately. Instead, I absorb the details, the reflection of the glass roof in the polished surface of a shop window, the intricate carving on a wooden door frame, the soft echo of footsteps on the mosaic floor. It's a place that encourages quiet observation and appreciation for the small, beautiful things. There's a timeless quality to Galerie Vivienne. It feels as though it has existed outside the normal flow of trends and transformations, a perfectly preserved capsule of Parisian elegance. The shopkeepers, too, seem to possess a certain old-world courtesy, their interactions with customers unhurried and polite. It's a reminder that commerce can be conducted with grace and charm, that a shopping experience can be an aesthetic pleasure in itself. Finishing my coffee, I continue my slow stroll toward the other end of the passage. Each shop front offers a new delight, a new glimpse into a specialized world. As I emerge back onto a busier street, the contrast is striking. The noise and pace of the city feel amplified after the serene enclosure of the arcade, but I carry with me the quietude of Galerie Vivienne, a memory of soft light, intricate mosaics, and the gentle murmur of pages, both literal and metaphorical, turning in a glass-roofed haven. Chapter 7. Stillness in the Jardin de Luxembourg. The Jardin de Luxembourg unfolds before me like a grand, verdant drawing room for the city of Paris. On this mild weekday afternoon, it offers a welcome expanse of green and a palpable sense of tranquility, a gentle counterpoint to the city's more structured urbanity. I enter near the Medici fountain, its dark, moss-covered grotto, and the still, reflecting pool exuding an air of romantic melancholy and timeless beauty. The gentle splash of water is a soothing soundtrack as I begin my exploration. I easily find one of the iconic green metal chairs, a simple yet perfectly designed piece of Parisian park furniture, and carry it to a spot beneath the shade of a large, mature chestnut tree. From here, I have a view of the octagonal basin where children with squeals of delight are sailing miniature wooden boats, their colorful sails catching the gentle breeze. It's a scene that feels both classic and ever new, a timeless tableau of simple joys. The vast expanse of manicured lawns and formal flower beds stretches out, punctuated by statues and avenues of trees. The atmosphere is one of relaxed enjoyment and quiet contemplation. People are scattered throughout the gardens, each engaged in their own peaceful pursuits. Students from the nearby Sorbonne recline on the grass with open books, their brows furrowed concentration. Elderly couples stroll arm in arm along the wide gravel paths. A young woman sits on a bench, sketching in a large pad, her gaze fixed on the ornate facade of the Luxembourg Palace. There is an unspoken agreement here. This is a space for calm, for unwinding, for finding a moment of respite. I lean back in my chair, the metal cool against my back, and simply observe. The sunlight filters through the leaves of the chestnut tree, creating a dappled pattern on the ground before me. The air is filled with the soft murmur of distant conversations, the laughter of children, the rustle of newspapers. I watch a group of men engaged in a serious game of pétanque under a nearby grove of trees, their gestures economical, their focus intense, the gentle click of the metal balls a rhythmic punctuation to the park's symphony of sounds. Here, there's a particular quality to the light in Parisian parks, a soft, diffused glow that seems to enhance the colors of the flowers and the rich green of the lawns. It invites one to slow down, to appreciate the subtle beauty of the everyday. I pull out my own well-worn paperback, a collection of essays, and read for a while, but my attention often drifts, drawn back to the quiet dramas unfolding around me, the simple, unhurried pace of life within these green boundaries. A gentle breeze stirs the leaves, carrying the faint scent of blossoms from a distant flower bed. I notice the details, the precise geometry of the formal gardens, the weathered patina on a stone statue, the intricate patterns of the shadows cast by the trees. It is in these small observations that the true character of the Jardin de Luxembourg reveals itself, not just as a grand public space, but as a collection of intimate moments, of individual experiences of peace and beauty. The park feels like a shared inheritance, a gift to the city's inhabitants and visitors alike. It's a place where people from all walks of life can come together or find solitude, united by the simple pleasure of being in a beautiful natural setting. I feel a sense of quiet connection to those around me, even though no words are exchanged. We are all partaking in the same gentle ritual of enjoying this urban oasis, finding our own measure of stillness within its embrace. As the afternoon begins to wane and the light takes on a warmer, more golden hue, I reluctantly prepare to leave. The simple act of sitting in a park, of observing the unhurried flow of life, has been profoundly restorative. The Jardin de Luxembourg, with its elegant design and its atmosphere of peaceful coexistence, has offered a perfect interlude, a reminder of the importance of green spaces and quiet moments in the heart of a bustling city. The stillness I found here will linger, a calming echo in my thought. Chapter 8. A Montmartre morning off the beaten path. Long before the vibrant energy of Place du Tertre wakens with its artists and onlookers, and before the steps of Sacré-Cœur Basilica become a bustling viewpoint, Montmartre offers a different, more intimate charm. I ascend its winding, cobbled lanes in the soft light of early morning, seeking out the quieter, less trodden paths that crisscross this fabled hill. The air is cool and still, carrying the faint, sweet scent of dew on ivy and the distant promise of freshly baked bread. The usual hum of Montmartre is absent at this hour. Instead, there's a village-like tranquility. Ivy-clad houses with colorful shutters line the narrow streets, their window boxes overflowing with geraniums. Hidden staircases, worn smooth by time, beckon towards unseen courtyards and tiny squares. I pass what looks like an artist's studio, its large windows still dark, imagining the creative work that unfolds within its walls later in the day. The ghosts of Picasso, Van Gogh, and Renoir seem to linger in these quiet corners, their artistic spirits woven into the very fabric of the place. My wanderings lead me past the small, unassuming Musée de Montmartre, its gardens still slumbering, and then, unexpectedly, I come across the Clos Montmartre, the last remaining vineyard in Paris. Its neatly tended rows of vines clinging to the hillside are a surprising and delightful discovery, a rustic anomaly in this urban setting. I pause by its fence, imagining the harvest, the transformation of these grapes into wine, a tradition stretching back centuries on this very hill. Further on, I find a small local boulangerie, its windows already steamy, the aroma of warm croissants and pain au chocolat spilling out onto the quiet street. I step inside, the warmth and the delicious scent a welcome embrace. I purchase a flaky pain au raisin and a simple coffee, exchanging polite bonjour with the baker, whose flour-dusted apron speaks of an early start. There are no other customers yet, just the quiet sounds of the bakery coming to life. Carrying my modest breakfast, I find a small weathered bench on a tiny square that offers a surprisingly expansive, though slightly hazy view over the rooftops of Paris stretching out below. The city is slowly awakening, a vast gray and terracotta tapestry under the soft morning sky. The distant silhouette of the Eiffel Tower is barely visible through the morning mist. From this vantage point, the immensity of Paris is apparent. Yet here, on this quiet Montmartre perch, it feels distant, manageable. I eat my pastry slowly, savoring its buttery sweetness, and sip my coffee, the warmth spreading through me. A few locals begin to emerge, a woman walking her dog, an elderly man carrying a newspaper. They nod a greeting as they pass, their presence adding to the sense of a neighborhood still connected to its village roots despite its fame. This is the Montmartre I had hoped to find away from the tourist throngs, a place of quiet charm and lingering artistic atmosphere. The light continues to soften and define the cityscape below. Pigeons coo from a nearby rooftop. The sounds of the city gradually begin to rise, a distant hum that doesn't quite penetrate the tranquility of this particular spot. I feel a sense of privilege, having experienced this famous district in its more contemplative morning mood, before its public face is fully donned. It's in these off-peak moments, in these less celebrated corners, that the true character of a place often reveals itself most clearly. Finishing my coffee, I take one last look at the panoramic view, committing the soft colors and the quiet mood to memory. The journey back down the hill will take me through streets that are slowly coming alive, but the peace of this Montmartre morning, with its hidden vineyard, its quiet bakery, and its sleeping artistic spirit, will remain a cherished impression, a testament to the beauty of discovering a place before the world rushes in. Chapter 9. Last Light on the Canal Saint-Martin. As dusk begins to settle over Paris, I find myself drawn to the quieter, more bohemian atmosphere of the Canal Saint-Martin. The grand Haussmannian elegance of central Paris gives way here to a more relaxed, almost village-like feel. The waters of the canal are dark and still, reflecting the deepening colors of the evening sky, soft grays, muted blues, and the first blush of orange from the setting sun hidden behind the city rooftops. The iconic iron footbridges that span the canal are silhouetted against this gentle light, their curves adding a touch of romantic grace to the scene. I walk slowly along the cobblestone towpath, the air cool and carrying the faint, earthy scent of the water and the leaves from the plane trees that line its banks. Lights are beginning to appear in the windows of the apartments and the small, inviting bars and bistros that overlook the canal. Their warm glow spills out onto the pavement, creating inviting pools of light and reflecting softly on the canal's surface like scattered jewels. There's a gentle murmur of conversation from those already gathered at canal side tables, a sound that blends with the distant hum of city traffic. I pause on one of the footbridges, leaning on its cool iron railing. Below, a lone barge, its lights already on, glides silently through the water, its passage creating a gentle ripple that disturbs the mirrored reflections. The scene has a timeless quality, reminiscent of old photographs or classic French films. It feels a world away from the more monumental sights of Paris, yet it possesses its own distinct and captivating charm. This is a more intimate Paris, a place where everyday life unfolds with an unhurried rhythm. The last vestiges of daylight fade, and the street lamps along the canal flicker on, casting a soft amber glow. The reflections on the water become sharper, more defined. I watch as groups of friends gather along the banks, some sharing a bottle of wine, others simply enjoying the peaceful atmosphere and the cool evening air. There's a sense of community here, a feeling of shared appreciation for this unique urban waterway. The mood is convivial but calm, a gentle unwinding at the end of the day. Back in my apartment in Le Marais, The quietude of the late evening envelops me. I begin to pack my small satchel, the ritual methodical and unhurried. Each item I fold or place inside a worn map of Paris, a few collected postcards, my now filled notebook, carries with it the weight of experiences, the imprint of soft lights and quiet corners. My mind replays some of the moments from my stay. The early morning light on the Seine, the green repose of Père Lachaise, the hushed elegance of Galerie Vivienne, the shared stillness of the Jardin de Luxembourg, the village charm of a Montmartre morning. I step out onto my small balcony one last time. The sounds from the street below are muted now, just the occasional passing footstep or a distant snippet of laughter. The air is cool, and the sky above the rooftops is a deep, velvety indigo, pricked with a few faint stars. The city breathes softly around me. I feel a quiet sense of gratitude for the days spent here, for the gentle unfolding of discoveries, for the way Paris revealed its softer, more introspective side to a patient observer. The process of packing is also a process of reflection, of distilling the essence of a place into memory. The physical objects are few, but the sensory impressions, the feelings, the quiet insights, these are the true souvenirs I will carry with me. The subtle scent of Parisian rain on warm pavements, the taste of a perfect croissant, the sound of an accordion drifting from a distant square, the particular quality of the light that seems to make everything beautiful. My satchel is ready. The apartment, now almost bare of my personal belongings, returns to its own quiet existence. Tomorrow, the wanderer will carry me away from Paris, towards new landscapes and new experiences, but a part of Paris, its soft lights and its gentle spirit, will travel with me, woven into the tapestry of my memories. The last light on the Canal Saint-Martin was a fitting farewell, a serene and beautiful closing note to my time in this enchanting city. Chapter 10. The Parisian glow fades. The familiar rhythmic clickety-clack of the wanderers, wheels on the tracks, is a soothing sound, a gentle percussion marking my departure from Paris. From my window, the city unfolds in reverse, the grand facades of Gare de Lyon giving way to the intricate network of railway lines, then to the residential outskirts, their morning windows still sleepy. The sky is a pale pearlescent gray, holding the promise of another day, a day I will spend journeying away from the city of light. I watch as the familiar landmarks recede, becoming smaller, softer, their distinct shapes gradually absorbed into the larger urban sprawl. The Eiffel Tower, which had been a distant, iconic presence throughout my stay, makes a final fleeting appearance, a delicate spire against the horizon before vanishing from view. There's a certain melancholy in departure, a gentle tug of regret at leaving a place that has offered so much quiet beauty, yet it's mingled with the quiet anticipation of the journey itself, the comfort of my moving home. My notebook lies open on the small table beside me, its pages filled with observations, sketches, and phrases gathered during my Parisian sojourn. I run my finger over a hastily drawn outline of a lamppost on the Pont des Arts, a scribbled note about the scent of old books in a covered passage. These small entries are anchors for memory, prompts that will later evoke the feelings and sensations of each moment. Paris, for me, will not be a grand, sweeping statement, but a collection of these subtle personal details. The train picks up speed, and the last vestiges of the city's immediate embrace begin to dissolve. The dense urban landscape gives way to greener, more open spaces, the transition smooth and gradual. The compartment of the wanderer feels particularly comforting this morning, a familiar sanctuary of polished wood, worn leather, and the faint, comforting scent of old books and journeys past. It is a constant in a world of changing scenes, a private space from which to observe and reflect. The glow of Paris, both literal and metaphorical, lingers on the horizon behind us for a long while. It's a soft luminescence, a reminder of the vast, vibrant heart I am leaving. I think of the soft lights I sought and found, the gentle dawn on the Seine, the lamplit charm of the Canal Saint-Martin at dusk, the filtered sunlight in Père Lachaise, the warm glow from a boulangerie window on a quiet Montmartre morning. These were the lights that illuminated my path, revealing the city's more intimate and peaceful soul. As the wanderer carries me further into the French countryside, the images of Paris begin to settle, taking their place in the gallery of my mind. I feel a sense of peaceful contentment, of a journey well made, of a city explored not with a checklist, but with an open heart and observant eyes. The true value of travel for me lies not just in the seeing of new places, but in the subtle shifts of perspective, the quiet moments of connection, the deepening of understanding, both of the world and of oneself. The rhythm of the train is a lullaby, encouraging a state of relaxed contemplation. I gaze out at the passing fields, the distant farmhouses, the lines of poplars swaying gently in the morning breeze. Each new vista is a fresh page, a new possibility. The essence of Paris, its elegance, its artistic spirit, its quiet corners will remain with me, a gentle influence, a warm memory to be revisited in thought. The journey itself, the process of moving through the world at a gentle pace, is as important as any destination. The Parisian glow finally fades completely from the horizon, and the wanderer journeys on, deeper into the unfolding landscape. I close my eyes for a moment, savoring the quiet comfort of my carriage, the steady rhythm of the wheels, the anticipation of the unknown yet to come. The world is vast and full of wonders, and this train, my faithful companion, is ready to carry me towards them, one soft, light-filled mile at a time.